Hi everybody, just back, 20 minutes ago from seeing Alfie, and nice visit. Oh, you notice I'm sitting on the floor, um, going back to my childhood. It's what happens when you're elderly, when you're old, you lose the possibility of clear diction, or your vocabulary gets stunted, and you just sort of drift back to childhood ways. Shade. Um, yeah, it was a nice visit. I could hear Alfie shouting as as I was walking down the long corridor to his room. And the place is lovely. It's so big there. The living area, the kitchen area, the communal rooms, and then the bedrooms. It's very, very spacious. Anyway, I got into Alfie's room. Three of them were washing him and sorting his personal care out. He didn't like it. Who would? So I cradled his head and whispered sweet nonsense to him. And then when he was in his chair, along comes breakfast, Weetabix and egg afterwards, and beans and toast. He didn't eat all of it. He ate all of his Weetabix, a few beans and a couple of bites of toast. Then lunchtime, it was some sort of I don't know what it was really, like an omelette-y thing with vegetables and stuffing, and mashed potato. He hardly ate anything of that. Rice pudding, he had a bowl of that, a cup of milk, some dark chocolate, and I just got in and I remembered, I rang and I said, I'm ever so sorry, I forgot to say there's mousse in the fridge for him and there's rice puddings. Can you give him 2 mousse this afternoon? Blah, 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 blah. I'm like one of those fretful mothers, who worry about their children. And in a way, that's how it's gone. I gave Alfie a wet shave. I gave him a dry shave because he'd been left for a few days. I wasn't happy about that. I got his hands in bowls of hot water, 2 separate bowls, one bowl and another bowl of hot water, just to get his hands nice and clean, let him get the soap on his hands. He loves to do that, and splash. Left them to cut his nails this afternoon. So it's late now, it's late afternoon. Watch stopped, I think. So that was that. Anyway, when I was in the kitchen making a cup of coffee for Alf, there's a lady, an elderly lady, who always sits in the same chair by a door, and she's got a blanket over her and a table in front of her with all the knick-knacks and even knitting. And she's got to be in her late 80s, early 90s, mid-90s probably. Got everything there, and she's always got this sort of severe look. Is that severe? On her face. She reminds me of an old school mistress, which maybe she was. So anyway, today I actually spoke to her as well as smiled and admired her crochet blankets. So she was telling me a little bit about it, that one wasn't hers. They'd loaned her that one because they couldn't find hers, blah, blah, blah. And she was chatting, and she's so sweet, with the most beautiful smile, that just her face changes when she smiles. And of course, where Alfie is now, it isn't for particularly dementia patients, it's for people with physical problems more than anything else. They do have dementia, obviously, over there, a couple, including Alf. But this lady was so sweet. And I'm thinking, you know, so many people in care homes and hospitals that have no visitors, nobody at all. And how just spending a few minutes with them lifts their spirits and brightens their day. So I'm going to make a point of now always speaking to her, and when I go to see Alfie, and just to say, you know, hello, maybe take her something in that she might like. We'll see. It just, it grieves me to think of people having no one. And tomorrow I will be there with Alfie again in the morning. So will my daughter and grandson. So will my eldest son and his daughter. And then Sunday it'll be my youngest son and his partner. So, you know, a full weekend again for Alf. As it should be. As it should be. It's no more than he deserves. And he deserves so much more. So much more. Most people do. And most people would appreciate just a kindly word, a kindly gesture, somebody perhaps to visit them. I wonder if you've got time, that's something that you might consider doing. I'll speak to you later. I've put a potato in the oven to bake, and I've got some funny, strange quiche thing, vegan quiche with, I'm not quite sure what's in it, peppers and stuff, that my son brought me in, so I'm going to have half of that with a baked potato, and maybe some green beans, and that'll suffice for my lunch and dinner, and then maybe some vegan ice cream for afterwards. So it'll be a pamper and evening, and I shall continue watching Mary Queen of Scots. I find it fascinating, history, all aspects of history. I could almost lose my head over it. I'll speak to you later. Bye-bye. Lots of love.